Good evening, good evening, good evening. Whew. Good evening. Let's see, where did we stopped yesterday on page 230, so we'll be picking up on page 231. And as always, you do not have to have the book to follow along with this series. We will be beginning on October 17th, 19 days to the election. Finally getting to a close. Yesterday's recording is taking forever to download. As soon as it downloads, I will get it up over on YouTube if you missed it, as well as tonight. Okay. Once again, October 17th, 19 days to the election. Democracy is complicated, and some days are more complicated than others. That day, Mark Cuban was traveling with me to speak about entrepreneurship at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. As we approached the campus, Gaza protesters held signs saying, "Killer Kamala." Later, at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, it was, "No ceasefire, no vote." And then, in the middle of an upbeat rally in the university gym, there were two anti-abortion protesters. I really need Schoolhouse Rock to make a comeback. And additionally, politicians, especially when you're on the campaign trail, take the time to explain how things work and how things go. Because for some reason, everybody got it in their mind that Kamala Harris had all this power and can do all these things. But the same people who believe in the all-powerful Kamala Devi Harris don't have any smoke for J.D. Vance right now. Don't have any smoke for the current sitting POTUS. Nobody was protesting Biden. Nobody's protesting Trump. It's very telling. I was in the middle of my speech, laying out Trump's direct responsibility for the repeal of Roe, when I heard cries of, "Liar, you're lying." I smiled in the direction of the hecklers. "Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally," I said. "I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street." The audience roared with laughter. It was a good comeback. It was a good pushback, but it should have been followed by, "No, I'm not lying. Here's where you can fact check me," etc., etc., etc. So you can match energy, but you got to match energy and sprinkle it with some information. That's what sets you apart from the MAGA. Later, the two juniors who would go on Fox and Friends and claim that I had told them they were at the wrong rally after I heard them shout, "Jesus is Lord, Christ is King." I don't know how many times we have to tell y'all that they lie and they love lying. And it's not always Trump that's lying to them, but they are extremely willing to lie for Trump. That's just not true. The C-SPAN video of the moment clearly picks up the cries of "liar" right before I made the quip. However, another audio made by a Fox reporter somewhere in the middle of the auditorium does have the young men proclaiming their faith, although there's no way of telling at what point in my speech. Whenever it was, I never heard it, and I was certainly not responding to that. I would never make fun of anyone or say they weren't welcome at my rally for praising God. Jesus Christ, Kamala. Jesus, you were prosecuted for how long? They set it up that way. They knew that one person or two people were going to yell one thing to get a response, and they were going to stand in the crowd and go, "Jesus is Lord, God is Christ," and splice it together. Girl, don't go buy a used car by yourself. Please and thank you. I know I'm the last one to talk. Not like I got all the street smarts, but Jesus Christ on a motorbike. You willing to give the wrong people too many chances. You should have been on Trump's PR team. The way you coming up with excuses and narratives for him. Lord Jesus. Hey, friend. Then, as the panel was wrapping up the segment, one student interjected. If I could say something before we go here, the host told him to go ahead. If I could ask my young Americans in this country, what do you want your future to look like in the country? Do you want to have to struggle to pay for gas? Do you want to struggle to afford groceries on a daily basis? Do you want to even struggle to get your first mortgage on a house? Because that is the future you're going to get with Kamala Harris as president. A future where people are stripped of their very power they have as citizens of the United States. Well, we are getting that future. It is our current president, but Harris isn't in the White House. And Kamala, you were set up multiple times on this campaign, and you need to learn how to assert your dominance in public. And I know it can be quite difficult. I struggle with that myself still. But sweetheart, somebody coming up at the end of the rally, and I've watched many of your rallies, and you're very open and you're very welcoming to people asking questions. They were coming up at the very end. You should have told the host no, but they can come over here and talk to me on their own. Because they didn't ask a question. They campaigned for Trump on your time. It seemed like the student was suddenly less interested in preaching the gospel of Jesus than the gospel of Trump. In the first weeks of my campaign, the interjectors at my rallies had mainly been Gaza protesters, people deeply moved by the war. But as the election drew closer, Trump supporters began turning up to disrupt. Okay, I don't know why Siri has been doing this to me all day. Just popping up unannounced. I didn't ask her anything. Sorry about that. Trump supporters began turning up to disrupt, which is fine. They can say whatever they believe to be true. It's a democracy. Sweetheart, your rallies are not. Because when the tables are turned, they don't let the opposing side speak at their rallies. They're not very welcoming. I'm not saying be disrespectful. I'm not saying be violent like they are. But no, it's not. What is the point of going to a place to disrupt the other person's message? If you believe that the candidate that you choose to back is in the right, why do you need to go to the other side and be disruptive? All along the way, they're posturing to test you. And they're walking away going, see, told you the woman couldn't do it. This shouldn't be new to you. But it becomes a danger to democracy when powerful news organizations who should be in the business of supplying facts instead distort them for partisan reasons. Because of that Fox and Friends segment, it is now an internet fact that I ejected 2 young people from my rally for praising God. First of all, you've been in politics and you've been alive way too long, and you have been through the metamorphosis of Fox News, from Fox News into Fox Entertainment. And that is how it is legitimately classified at this moment. Not to mention, you had a social media presence during this campaign. Why didn't you just get the C-SPAN archived video and post it? See, it's that perfect Patty persona, trying so hard to be liked by everybody and to appear that you're doing everything by the book. You can do it by the book, educate, and defend, and show that you are the leader that is needed. not the placater that pacifies. The false rally narrative fed neatly into another line of attack Fox had been running that week, that I had dissed the Catholic Church by not attending the Al Smith dinner. This annual white tie event in New York to support in support of Catholic charities has traditionally been a good-humored affair where opposing politicians gently roast each other. Trump broke with that tradition when he delivered an unfunny and mean-spirited diatribe about Hillary Clinton, his fellow guest, in 2016. He was booed, a first in the history of the dinner. Okay. Alrighty. Can y'all hear me? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, cool, thanks. Just asking because I just got an alert saying that I didn't have any sound. All right. His his rude behavior didn't determine my decision not to attend in person. With just over 2 weeks to the election, I simply didn't want to be in a solidly Democratic state when I could be campaigning in a swing state. This another faux pas, and this is why you got criticism. Once again, you forgot that we are people. You keep looking at statistics and battleground. You know, all of us have the ability to vote. So my team had discussed with the dinner organizers that I would make a video instead, and they were agreeable. I did a comic bit with Molly Shannon playing Mary Catherine Gallagher, her dorky Catholic schoolgirl character from Saturday Night Live. I followed that up with remarks about my sincere respect for Catholic charities. I had worked closely with them in California on issues such as providing relief to unaccompanied immigrant children, victims of domestic violence, and, in my Back on Track initiative, formerly incarcerated young adults. You know what would have sent that home and people would not have had the chance to misinterpret it? If you would have submitted the video and then still popped up even for just a few minutes. Because you keep telling us about all these things that you did, and you did them because they were the right things to do. And you didn't make, there wasn't about a lot of pomp and circumstance about it, which is admirable. But when interviewing for the president of the United States, you got to show us. Especially since so many people were not really familiar with you. You were so focused on battleground states that you lost focus on the battle. Fox and Friends didn't mention that. They made it sound as if I'd shunned the event entirely because of the same anti Catholic, anti Christian animus that they had falsely alleged. Democracy is complicated. It's also easily compromised by blatant bias, downright lies, and the media organizations that enable them. Riddle me this. Riddle me this. MAGA supporters are not the majority of the country. Why are you so focused on Fox and Friends? No matter what you say or do, nobody there was going to change their mind. Nobody there was going to pay attention to what you were doing. People that watched that were already formulating lies, creating memes to denigrate you. So why were you focused on that? We knew that there was record high voter registration. You should have focused on encouraging people to take it a step further. Don't just register, ensure that you vote. You were so focused on battleground states that you lost focus, once again, on the battle. October 19th, 17 days to the election. And our democracy shouldn't belong to the world's richest man. I was holding a rally in Atlanta with Usher when I heard about Elon Musk's first $1 million giveaway. According to campaign disclosures, Musk spent at least $288 million in support of Trump, maybe even more through indirect sources. It is entirely possible that those millions were the deciding factor in the swing states where the money was mostly spent and where Trump's margin of victory was wafer thin. Elon certainly thinks so. Without me, Trump would have lost the election, he tweeted in the midst of a snit with Trump over his massive spending bill. He clearly thought he had bought the presidency and should be able to dictate Trump's agenda, perhaps the most brazen admission of corruption in history. We've seen that Musk's assertions weren't true. We've seen that. In multiple elections since Trump won the race to POTUS Mountain, multiple millionaires and billionaires have tried to dump money into elections. Musk tried to do it again in Wisconsin, and it didn't work. Trump bought the election, but not in the way that you think, Kamala. Got all these degrees and things, and you still can't put 2 and 2 together to get 4. Kamala, sister cat. Sister cat. Sister cat. You're stressing me out. We're not even sure if the people who won $1 million each actually got the $1 million, and they can tell us they voted for anybody. Only thing we know is how they registered. And what have we learned from life on social media? The ones that are the most boisterous for Trump don't actually vote for Trump. It's an easy grit. Doesn't involve any intellect, any research, just hate, white skin, or the love of white skin, and getting on camera saying wild stuff that makes other people feel smart. In the in the blue wall states that could have made me president, Trump beat me by just 0.86% in Wisconsin, 1.44% in Michigan, and 1.73% in Pennsylvania. Ours was the third closest presidential election in a century. Sister Cat, if you run again, I'm gonna need you to scour the internet, okay, and choose some people to run your campaign from the internet, because there are a lot of people who could have done better by you and opened your eyes. Actually, there's a lot of influencers that I see you done got cool with. Put them on the campaign with you, okay? At least have them handle your social media, because cheese Louise, mamas. Musk hired paid door knockers, about 400 in each swing state, far outpacing the Trump campaign's own listless efforts at mounting any kind of ground game. On my first day as top of the ticket, 28,000 volunteers signed up. By the end of the week, it was 170,000. For the battleground states, from the first day, we knocked on 19.5 million doors, and 13.4 million of these were done by volunteers. And here's the thing, you could have picked up some of those people that Elon Musk was doing. And once again, a lot of them have since come out and given breakdown. They took the money from Elon Musk. They didn't vote for Trump. And there's one black woman on TikTok that's been breaking down how she crossed enemy lines, took the money, knocked on doors, and actually changed some people's minds. Pretending to be agreeable, pretending to be on their side, she said, allowed them to actually listen to her. And when she would just say stuff and they would repeat it, it started to click in their head. Musk's notorious $1 million random sweepstakes, which his lawyers have since admitted in court was anything but random, drove traffic to X, where he could praise Trump and denigrate me with insults and fake images, such as the ridiculous AI generated picture where I am depicted wearing a cap with a hammer and a sickle. He was Trump's one-man super PAC and campaign media arm all rolled into one. Y'all give Elon Musk way too much credit. Elon Musk doesn't really have a following, hence the fact that he has bots, he has to pay for them, and he forces people on Twitter through coding to follow him. The people who follow Musk and believe him are so lost in the sauce, it doesn't matter. Let me once again remind y'all, MAGA voters have never been the majority. They like to let y'all believe that. And you have to stop looking at all of the Republican numbers as if they're all MAGA. MAGA is a faction of the GOP, not the entirety. The GOP has always been a conglomerate of factions that tend to eat each other's faces. But hey, everybody's got to have a hobby. We shouldn't criticize theirs. Plus, the way things are looking right now, it looks like it's about to be dinner time again real soon. Real soon. The 2010 Citizens United Supreme Court decision gave corporations and the top 1% the ability to funnel unlimited money into our elections. In the Senate, I and my colleagues introduced a constitutional amendment designed to overturn it. It has been reintroduced unsuccessfully in each Congress. There were other efforts beyond the constitutional amendment, such as laws to disclose donor information, but none of those passed either. And this next Congress should be the one to pass it. Because we are staunchly proving that it doesn't matter how much money you dump into it, we don't care. I have always been one of my party's most successful fundraisers, and I don't apologize for that. To do good work, you must get elected. And, unfortunately, until Congress has the courage to change the laws, it's ridiculously expensive. After Joe dropped out, I raised more money more quickly than any candidate ever. Quite honestly, the only thing that y'all should be paying for is transportation and rallies. Stop putting 50 million commercials up. We have social media at this point. And quite honestly, it does not take a whole lot of money to get elected, because we've had people who legitimately were not rich, were not capable of doing a ton of fundraising, and they still won their elections because they educated the people on the position that they were applying to, aka campaigning for. They came with platforms, and they came with plans to implement the platform. It's not so much about money, it's about your honesty. But it wasn't from a single billionaire with huge government contracts who essentially bought himself an unelected co-presidency. Musk lied about his sweepstakes, saying names would be drawn at random, and any registered voter in a swing state who signed a petition supporting the First and Second Amendments could be in the drawing. But when courts questioned the legality of that, his lawyers admitted that the winners were not random. They were vetted spokespeople. And what do we know about spokespeople? They don't use the project. They don't use the product. The shade. Of course, chicken, I got a little bit of shade. But the spokespeople don't use the product. Y'all really thought these millionaire celebrities were out here using Miss Clairol to dye their hair at home? You think they're really out here using L'Oreal? You really think they're out here worried about their Medicare and Medicaid premiums and what program they're on? Because time and time again, we watch online and offline MAGA grifts itself so often, so often, and none of them tend to learn to avoid being grifted again. Remember the black young lady that came on here like, yeah, I'm MAGA, do or die, blah, blah, blah. She collected enough money to pay for college, then came out, was like, I ain't MAGA nothing. There's a black man that came on here crying, talking about his whole family done left him. The black community done left him behind. He just loves MAGA, 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 MAGA. Homeboy even grifted a New York City condo out of them. Got a whole bunch of money, drew up his following, pushed some of them over to his Twitter account where he does adult content. Right, chicken. Ain't nobody using Pantene, but they put everybody that was popular and had money in those commercials. Yes, look what Pantene did for me. Nothing. Absolutely not. I think the funniest is when they tapped Beyonce for a hair color commercial. I don't believe that she letting her mother is a cosmetologist. She ain't. Girl, bye. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, they're definitely wearing wigs in those ads. Plus, quick side note. I always thought like it's got to be a very stressful job to be the person to go out and recruit these people. Because how do you go like, okay, we got this product to cover gray hairs. You want to be in the commercial? Now there's a difference between asking a standard traditional man that question and then asking either a gay man, a metrosexual man, or any woman. Any woman. Or you know what? We got some wrinkle cream. You want to be the spokesperson? Like, can you imagine the behind the scenes conversations? Like, what? You what? Especially if you pull up on delusional J Lo. And speaking of her, if you get a moment, just go into TikTok into the search bar. J Lo does Cynthia Erivo challenge. She don't have no friends, and her crew does not like her. That's all I'm gonna say. Go look at it at your own risk. Keep in mind, this is me. So venture down that road with the warning that this suggestion is coming from me. And anybody who's ever gotten a message from me, don't cuss me out after this, because you know it's me. So tread lightly. That's the best I got for you. That's it. People be going and looking up the stuff I told them I looked up and then cussing me out in my DMs and in text like y'all don't know who I am. As for his paid door knockers, many were individuals who had to sign contracts before they knew whom they would be canvassing for. They included low-income black people who were transported to their canvassing turf in the backs of U-Hauls with no seat belts or even seats, forced to share rooms with strangers and given impossible work quotas. Some who objected were fired without pay and without fares to return to their home states. What did y'all think that Prince Apartheid was going to do? Like his family didn't happen to like just be in South Africa and apartheid just came out of nowhere and they were like, no, this is wrong, we gotta leave. No, they uprooted and immigrated to South Africa to partake in the apartheid. Like that was their whole goal. They wanted a piece of that apartheid pie. Like y'all didn't think that he wasn't gonna treat the black folks like the slaves? You'll be sampling that and turning it into Mr. Chicken's new ringtone. Oh, dear God, Chicken. Mr. Chicken, let me explain something to you. This was not my idea. Did I help the shenanigans a little bit? Yes, because I should have realized what I was saying to my twin here. But, sir, I am sorry. From the bottom of my heart. A little bit. I'm more entertained than I am sorry. That's just full disclosure. Yeah. Oh, that's why I said I'm more entertained than sorry. I'm only apologizing because I think Daddy is watching tonight. And I'm already in trouble for other shenanigans, So there's that. While Musk takes a chainsaw to programs that help the poorest people in our own country and abroad, he is okay with the government spending when it comes to his own companies, which have received about $38 billion, yes, that's billion with a B like boy, in contracts, loans, subsidies. Subsidies is handouts, MAGA, which y'all say y'all don't like. Subsidies means you paying for somebody else to live, which y'all said y'all don't like, MAGA. And tax credits. Roughly $15 billion from NASA and about $7 billion from defense agencies. For some, like the spy satellite Starshield defense project, the amounts are not publicly documented. Tell me again how he works hard for his money and he's so brilliant. Queen of Heathens and Shenanigans. Yes, I am. Yeah. As a former head of the National Space Council, I am enthusiastic about space exploration. I supported technological innovation and national security. But when you never talk about government spending on your own interests, no matter how laudable those interests, it's hypocritical to critique spending on equally valuable programs such as research at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the National Institutes of Health. It's because he's trying to be the world's first trillionaire. He needs to show his daddy that he's better than him. Because Musk doesn't have any children that have chosen him like he and his brother chose their father. And even after they chose their father, they ended up running back to their mother. Musk can't truly get a girlfriend to save his life. And yes, he's had relationships. Yes, he's been married. But when they realize he is the true welfare queen, meaning that he has very little disposable liquid income, they up out of there because they're like, the only reason why I was dealing with you was for the money. That's what turned me on. It was the money. Because remember, this is a man that for 2 years slept on the roof of one of his factories in a tent. Another time, for about a year and a half, 2 years approximately, he slept on the floor under his desk at one of his factories. He still keeps procreating, thinking that he's going to create a friend. Like, y'all do know that, right? One of his older children, Vivian, stated that he would try to play video games with them and try to be on their level. Like, he's looking to create his bestie. He's looking to create his bestie because he couldn't find one his age in real life. His companies also stand to benefit from slash regulations on environmental protection and the lack of consumer protections for autonomous vehicles. No good public policy can be made with a chainsaw. And here's the thing. Companies do not care if you die. They care about profits. And even if you die, they can find a way to profit. Because if you crash your Tesla and crunch it up and you in it, your family still needs a car. And they've been so brainwashed, they're not going to blame Tesla and Elon Musk. They're going to go out and get another one. Oh, I agree. Saying that your child is your best friend is a whole. I can't stand that when people are like, yeah, my little broke bestie, go find a friend because you are going to traumatize that child from now till forever. Absolutely not. And then they're the same parents that get mad when them kids start coming to them like a man, like a woman, face to face, talking about what they ain't gonna do. Yeah, because you done. Now, I'm not saying we can't eventually be friends when you get grown, but no. Mm-mm. And before somebody goes, but aren't your kids your besties now? No, they're my kidnappers. We went over this. And everybody happily sits there and helps them commit these felonies of kidnapping me. Every time I turn my location off and think that I can hide from them, I'm really beginning to think that they did ship me one time I went into the hospital. Mm-mm. I only helped my nephew one time. I haven't helped since. That is true, chicken. You did only help. You know what? I forgot about that one. Now? Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. We'll do one more because it's 7:42. All right. October 20th, 16 days to the election. When I was growing up, birthdays were a very big deal. My mother used to joke that my birthday was her birthday as well, since she was the one who'd done the birthing. Well, I mean, she's not wrong. she's not wrong. She's not. You know what? Hmm. Hmm. You know what? I may adopt this and kind of splice it with how Mariah Carey describes it, because she describes her birthday actually as the anniversary of her birth, which technically it is. And then birthing is when you give birth. You know what? That might help me with another situation. That might. Okay. Okay. I think about my mother every day, but the morning she was especially on my mind since my birthday fell on Pink Sunday, the day in Breast Cancer Awareness Month when churches pray for those who are suffering or who have passed from the disease. My mother had two goals in her life: to raise Maya and me and to cure breast cancer. When we were little, we knew that often Mommy had to go to Bethesda. We didn't know that she to the went to that Maryland neighborhood as an advisor to the National Institutes of Health. As I pinned the pink awareness pin to my lapel, I thought of her and her uncompromising dedication to the cause of women's health. I made a silent promise never to let up and never to let her down in my commitment to that issue. My senior advisor, Jalissa Washington Price, had worked with me since 2019, and even though she has three small children, she put her life on hold for these 107 days, organizing in three key states and handling faith outreach. That Sunday, she had selected two extraordinary faith communities for me to visit. Sister girl, she was getting paid. I'm not downplaying what she did, but she left her small children. Women do it every day for something called a JOB. No, I'm not downgrading the sacrifices of parents, mothers, fathers, birthing individuals, etc. Um, but see, somebody will write or say something like this about the senior advisor, take a breath, and criticize Cardi B, who just had a baby a couple days ago and is going on tour in February. Like my mother had to travel for work for a few years before she retired. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mothers deploy. Fathers deploy. We have a very unhealthy attachment for praising people for doing things that they signed up for. We really do. It's weird. And we really need to work on the fact that we feel the need to celebrate police officers when they actually do their job. Why do they need the keys to the city and a special honor? And it's got to be televised and they're all in the newspaper for them actually doing their job. But they went above and beyond. Have you read the job description? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They didn't. Like, can we stop that? So we can actually get an understanding for when people do extraordinary things, for when people make extraordinary sacrifices. Like let's do that, because we skip over and minimize the true heroes that walk amongst us, because we've been conditioned to praise adulthood. I'm not asking anybody to give me a cookie or a gold star every day because I get up and work. Or I get up and take care of children I chose to have. The fuck? Oh, you know what? This one is longer than I thought. All right, we will stick a pin in this one. Again, I implore you, if you have the time and you are available, join us tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, 8 p.m. Central Standard for Rouse High Santathon. We are raising money to get the incomparable, wonderful, big-hearted, intelligent, gorgeous, smoking hot mess Jess to her beloved uncle's funeral. If you were not able to attend, I have the information posted on YouTube and pinned on TikTok. All the payables, you can donate that way. If you do plan to make it, please bring a friend or 2 or 10. You can click the GCPR link in my bio and get on there. Keep in mind that this Santathon, everybody that's participating will have their own Santa persona that they will keep through the whole show. So keep in mind, that's who you're talking to. So make it fun. And our elf for the evening will be the incomparable Smoking Hot Jess. So. Oh, also, we will not have a reading tomorrow because I will be prepping for that, and I also have class tomorrow. It's gonna be a big day for Elmo. So yes, Calamine, Santa J. Okay, yeah. Okay, y'all know my Santa is going to be pink. That's not a shocker. But I stepped out of my standard pastel pink for this one. I try to find a way to surprise y'all some with them hell. So, I do like other shades of pink. Okay. Tried to get Puppers to be my Rudolph. But he ate the antlers, gave me the side eye, and went upstairs. I think he cussed a little too. But you know. It's all fine and dandy. But as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Thank you all for joining me here. Oh, and just so you know, regarding the Epstein/Maxwell files, we're just waiting on Trump to sign it. Yep, House passed it, Senate swept it through really quickly, so we're on a roll. Be good. Talk to y'all later.